What's up, guys? Today we're going to be starting up something new. We're going to be doing a Bible series. We're going to be starting reading every book of each chapter. We're going to do that on Mondays or Fridays. I'll be uploading a video on Monday or Friday. Today we're going to be starting with the book of James. We're in the new King James Version. I personally like it the best, either that or the NIV. I like all versions, though. Here we go. Now we're going to be in chapter 1 of James, verse 1. It says, James, a bondservant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. All right, so let's go back to verse 2. It says, count it all joy when you in the various trials. Now, obviously, it doesn't say be depressed, be sad when you fall into various trials, get angry, because it produces patience. Patience is very important as some of your morals, very important as a Christ follower, because God is working for your plan, and sometimes His plan takes time, and sometimes His plan takes hurt. Now, He doesn't want to hurt us. Sometimes He's got to let it happen because He knows what's best for you. So have patience that Jesus will provide the help that you need, even though you're in the trouble that you are. All right, now we're going to be in verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally without reproach, and it will be given to him. Let him ask in faith with no doubting, for he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. So, he who doubts is a wave of the sea. So when we doubt sometimes isn't that bad, because sometimes doubt is sort of curiosity, but it's kind of the thought that what we do with that doubt, how are we going to let this doubt, what are we going to let it do to us? And the best way to get rid of doubt is to pray. So just give it to God, because if anybody's going to get rid of your doubt, it's going to be God. I doubt God sometimes, but it's important what we do with that doubt, what we're going to do after that doubt, because we will suffer. We will suffer no matter what, and sometimes we do doubt. We do doubt, but it's important who we give that doubt to. Obviously, we're going to give it to Jesus, because who else would we give it to? Now, verse 7. For let not that man suppose he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Let the lowly brother glory in his exaltation, but the rich in his humiliation. He is a flower of the field, he will pass away. So, verse 10, but the rich in his humiliation, because a flower of the field will pass away. So, the riches of this earth, we cannot take anything out of this world. We cannot take it with us. It will mean nothing when we stand before God. So all of this stuff that we have now, all of this money, it won't matter. It will not matter. Because some people put everything into their money, and they don't even have anything else for Jesus. Because Jesus will never, his words will never fall away. Just like money will, though. Verse 11, for no sooner has the sun risen with a burning heat than it withers the grass, its flower falls, and its beautiful appearance perishes, so the rich man will also fade in his pursuits. Blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life which the Lord has promised to those who love him. So enduring temptation, how do we endure temptation? We do it with Jesus. We don't do it ourselves, we do it with Jesus. Now, what do I mean by doing it with Jesus? Doing things for Jesus and putting our eyes on Jesus to avoid it. Because we're never going to not get it. We're never going to avoid having it, but how are we going to avoid it not going into it? That is Jesus. Do everything for Jesus. Because if we're not going to get through temptation for Jesus, there's just no way we can actually, and plus, even if we don't do it with Jesus, once again, we won't receive the crown of life. We do everything for Jesus, put our eyes on Jesus, because we walk by faith, not by sight. Verse 13, let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed. Our temptation is not God's fault. He lets temptation happen so we can go to him. That's one of the reasons. There's many other reasons. Most importantly, he wants us to go to him during our temptations, because that's what we're supposed to do, you know? Verse 15, then when desire is conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, it brings forth death. So, right here, it says, when you give into desire, it gives birth to sin. That's where it is. That's the desire. We all have our desires, right? That's all our desires. That's what we don't... The most important part is not giving desire, because if we mess with the desire a little bit, it's going to give into sin. If we give in to that desire, because desire isn't going to fail us if we give into it. You know? It's going to fail us, you know, for our future, but it's not going to fail our pleasure. It's not going to fail our flesh, because that's what our flesh wants. You know? So, that's the most important part to get away from it, is to get it to desire. Because we're already sinning, you know, it's too late now. It's too late. Move on from it now at that point. Verse 16, do not be deceived, my beloved brethren. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. Of his own he brought us forth the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits in his creatures, of his creatures. So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Very good verse to memorize. Therefore lay aside all filthiness and overflow wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save our souls. Save your souls. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourself. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. So, most importantly, when we read the word, yes, it's good to read the word, but what are we going to do afterwards? Because if we're going to read the word and not do it, there's no point in reading the word. So we have to do it. We have to fulfill it to our lives and put it inside our lives, because there's no point of reading the word if we're not going to put it in our lives. Verse 24, for he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks into a perfect law of liberty and continues in it, and is not forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this one will be blessed in what he does. If anyone among you thinks he is religious, does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this one religion is useless. Pure and undefiled religion before God the Father is this, to visit orphans, widows in their trouble, to keep oneself unspotted from the world. That's perfect. Right at the end, to visit people, to help people, to give to people, and not be so like, look at me, I'm doing this. To just be unseen, but let God see it, because your reward will be great from God. It will be more than you expect. So that is chapter 1 of James. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Come back on Monday. We're going to be reading James 2. And eventually when we get through James, we'll be reading another book. Leave suggestions in the comments if you want me, what chapter you want me to read after James. Hope you guys enjoyed this. See you guys in the next one. Have a blessed day.